Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salatu wa salamu ala sayyidina al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa baraka wa sallama tasliman kathira. Amma ba'd. فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد بعد أن أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا تأكلوا أموالكم بينكم بالباطل وتدلوا بها إلى الحكام لتأكلوا فريقا من أموال الناس بالإثم وأنتم تعلمون صدق الله العظيم. Respected brothers and elders, ulama karam, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has warned us throughout the Quran that our wealth and our children should not divert us from the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In other words, when we are out trying to please our family, when we are out trying to accumulate and gather wealth, a person should not forget that he is a Muslim, that he is a believer in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that there are certain rights and responsibilities placed upon his shoulders. And he shouldn't forget that one day he will be accountable for those actions of his. And so in this ayat that I just recited, Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, He is addressing the believers. And He's saying, وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ بَيْنَكُمْ بِالْبَاطِلِ, that do not eat up, consume the wealth amongst yourselves bil-batil. Here, batil means that it's in any manner that is not pleasing to Allah wa ta'ala, or anything that Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam taught us not to do. That is what batil is meant by this. And it forbids us from doing those things what you have been prohibited from doing in the first place. And then it goes on, the verse goes on, that this is something, liquidation, sequestration, this was something that was unheard of in the time of Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, something that we see commonplace nowadays. That don't do the first part, eating up the wealth, and then secondly, وَتُدْلُوا بِهَا إِلَى الْحُكَّامِ, and then don't take your cases to the judges, don't go to the courts of law, لِتَأْكُلُوا, so that you may again eat up فَرِيقًا مِنْ أَمْوَالِ النَّاسِ, you can eat up the wealth of the people. And yet this is something that we see commonplace day in and day out. In other words, this is what a person does, whether it's an individual or if it's a business owner or if someone in power. What this person would do, he would find a loophole in a contract. A contract is binding, and yet you try to find something to get yourself out of it, and by doing so, you accumulate wealth and you put other people in harm. This was something unheard of at that time, and so this part of the verse is specifically for us in this time. So this verse here, it forbids us from the acquisition and the use of wealth and property by unlawful means. And this is the criteria that is being set for us for good and evil earnings. The ayat of the Quran that sets the condition for us is this. We all agree that money, materials, these are things that we need. We need these things to survive. And our loved ones depend on this. And we also understand that there are two methods of acquiring it. One that is favorable in the eyes of the people, one that we accept, and one that is not so favorable, one that is looked down upon, one that is unlawful. So for example, theft, fraud, robbery, these are things that we universally agree is looked down upon. It is not acceptable. So what does that mean? That everything else that does not fall into this category is acceptable? As long as the two parties agree, it's fine, it's jais? No, this is where the ayat comes in. Irrespective of whether the parties agree or not, whether they agree to the transaction or not. For example, one is the example of gambling. A person agrees that I will pay you this much because I lost it, and I will take this much because I won it. Or if the person agrees that I will pay you X amount of interest for a loan that you have given me. These are agreed upon the parties, and they understand the conditions and the terms. But because this is a wealth that has been deemed batil, has been deemed haram, it will not be acceptable. It's considered unlawful as well. So whether it's in the manner of stealing, whether it's in the manner of fraud, whether it's in the manner of gambling or interest, or any other way that this income or this wealth comes in, this will be deemed as haram wealth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has declared it as much. And regarding the ayat itself, before we move on, the ayat itself, there are a few questions that come up. First and foremost, why has Allah wa ta'ala referred to this as amwalukum, as your own wealth? If a person were to go and steal money, if a person were to go and do some fraudulent activity, would you do it with your own wealth or with someone else's wealth? Obviously with someone else's wealth. And yet the ayat here is La ta'kulu amwalukum, do not eat your own wealth. And what is the indication here? This is a very subtle and distinct kind of suggestion given to us from Allah Ta'ala. That if a person, if you were to go out today and wrong somebody and wrongfully by false means take their wealth, and if this activity were commonplace, as we can see nowadays it is, by doing so, by you doing that to someone else, you are in fact inviting yourself to have the same thing done to you. By you doing that, you are opening a door for someone else to come and do the same thing to your wealth. And so this is how we would say what goes around comes around. By you taking their wealth, Allah is telling us that you are not in fact taking their wealth, you are taking your own wealth, because the same thing can and will happen to you one day. And secondly, why has Allah mentioned ta'kulu twice in this ayat? Eating. Do not eat the wealth. We don't obviously eat wealth. One is obviously a metaphorical way. Eating meaning consuming. But why not just say acquiring or earning or gathering or hoarding? But the word eating. And the way we understand this properly is actually not in this ayat. It's in the ayat directly before this. The reason for this is that if you look at the ayat right before this one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings these verses immediately after the verses of fasting in the month of Ramadan. These are the verses where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about fasting in the month, and immediately after comes this: do not eat up the wealth of one another, and do not acquire that which is haram. What is the reason for this? Why are these two together? Why are these two connected? What is the correlation between these two? The reason for this is that this batil wealth that you are acquiring, this haram wealth that you are acquiring, this is the wealth which has been acquired through haram sources. It is going to destroy the nur of the ibadat that you are doing. In the month of Ramadan, what is a person doing? You are exerting yourself non-stop, day in and day out, fasting, tilawat, dhikr, taraweeh, nawafil, etc. And yet all of that you are doing, it will be destroyed. The integrity of that fast, the nur of that fast, it's all being destroyed. And it will crumble away if the person doesn't have that halal sustenance in the belly. His earnings or his whatever he's wearing, it's not coming from haram sources. The home he's living in, it's not coming from halal sources, it's coming from haram sources. And yet, in the month of Ramadan, what is the one thing that we are always looking forward to every single day? We are looking forward to eating. And so this is the indication that even though the ayat says, "La ta'kulu amwalakum," do not eat wealth. What is it really talking about in addition to wealth? Do not also eat the food that you are getting from that wealth. That is the connection. That is the correlation between this. So again, that nur is being destroyed. The ibadat is being crumbled away. And the person, what is he doing? He's making salah upon salah. And all this stuff he's doing, all manners of dini work, day in and day out, it will be totally destroyed and lost. Therefore, Allah Ta'ala, immediately after the verses of fasting in the month of Ramadan, immediately after that, the very next thing Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says is, don't eat up the wealth of one another in a batil and haram manner. And you may think, why am I mentioning this now? The month of Ramadan is over. And this generally, this is an advice and lesson that is given before the month of Ramadan begins. But realistically, if a person were stuck in a situation where they are taking in wealth that isn't entirely from halal sources, It's not entirely from a way that they should be proud of. And it's affecting their income, it's affecting their livelihood, it's affecting this and that. It can't be fixed normally in like a month or two, because that's around the time where the reminders of Ramadan are coming up. So I would say the best time to remind people is right now. Now that we've made it past Ramadan, this is something to look forward to. This is something to work forward to. We always have that intention to work towards Ramadan. And in fact, what is the very famous dua that starts circulating in the masajid about Allahumma barik lana fi Rajab wa Sha'ban wa ballighna Ramadan. That, oh Allah, put barakat in our Rajab, in our Sha'ban, and allow us to reach the month of Ramadan. Yet there is another narration which is just as authentic, but not as popular, that doesn't circulate around as much. And this was given to us by Mu'alla ibn Fadl, who would tell us, this is what I would see from the companions. I would see this myself. And he would say, كانوا يدعون الله تعالى ستة أشهر. That I would see everyone making dua to Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala for 6 months. And what are they making dua for? أن يبلغهم رمضان. That, oh Allah, allow us to reach the month of Ramadan. And then he says after that, ثُمَّ يَدْعُونَهُ. And then I would see them making dua again, ستة أشهر, again for 6 more months. And what is this 6 month additional dua for? أن يتقبل منهم. That, oh Allah, accept from us the month of Ramadan. And yet we are just, 1 month out of the month of Ramadan? And most of us have probably already forgotten the month. And yet this right here, this reminder should be a good enough intention. If a person has this fresh in their mind, this should be enough of a decent intention, of a preparation for the month of Ramadan. And this is not the only place that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this. There are 2 times the very same things Allah tabarak wa ta'ala mentions. وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ بَيْنَكُمْ بِالْبَاطِلِ. This is one narration, this is one location in the Quran. In a second location, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it again, but this time He introduces it differently. He says, He begins by addressing those who believe in Allah. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. O my beloved servants. He starts by addressing those that have believed in Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, those that have iman in Him, those who have acknowledged Him as the creator and sustainer, not those who have pushed Allah to the side, not those that have denied the existence of Allah. They have recognized that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, He is the Rabb. He is the one who cherishes, nourishes and sustains. So here the introduction is, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Again, La ta'talu amwalakum bainakum bil batil. Why with the introduction? The introduction is for this. After this is mentioned, shortly afterwards, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this next part, وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. And do not kill one another. Here too, what is the connection? What is the correlation between killing, murdering, and acquiring batil wealth? If we look at society today, and in fact this is something that's been happening for thousands of years, from the beginning of time, what is the one thing, all these murders, all the crimes, all the robberies, everything that takes place, most of the blue-collar crimes, and practically all of the white-collar crimes, what is the reason for this? What is the motive behind these crimes? It's money, it's wealth. They're doing this for money. Everyone has their eye on the next person's wealth. The government keeps an eye on the wealth of its subjects. The family members keep an eye on the wealth of the other family members. Parents on the children, children on the parents, siblings on the siblings, neighbors upon the neighbors. And whether it's hasad or jealousy that a person has in their heart for their wealth, or whether it's this desire that something bad should happen to them so I could have that wealth, this is the motive. And this is the example given. And this is why the introduction, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, those of you that believe, do not kill one another. Because this wealth, whatever work we do for it, if it's through that batil way, it's not going to last. It will not last. And so we see here that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, He is reminding us considerably in many, many places that don't let this nur of your ibadat be destroyed. And Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he is telling us the exact same thing in the various ahadith. He's giving us the same message, that this little bit of nur that you are gathering, that you are collecting in the month of Ramadan and outside Ramadan, through your dhikr and your tilawat and your nawafil and your salawat, don't let that be destroyed because of this batil wealth. Because it will enter your system and it will destroy that nur, it will destroy that taqwa that you are building up. And in one hadith, a person may think that what is the way that we begin to believe nowadays this is a dog-eat-dog world. This is the common saying. This is a world where everything is ruthless. Business is tough. You have to be tough. You have to roll with the punches. You have to do certain things to make an income. And yet, we forget the aspect, we forget the part of the equation where Allah Ta'ala is watching us at all times. In one hadith, Nabi Karim Sallallahu tells us, and he mentions, that if sustenance were to be divided and split into 10 parts, 9 of those parts would exist in business. So many avenues Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has left literally open for business for us. And our mind goes into that one direction. That's the way that the human nowadays is built and it's made. And in one narration, we are told that Atyawul Qasb, the most best of earners, the best of the income is from who? Is from the businessman. What kind of businessman? The one that when he trades, he doesn't speak lies. When he is given a trust, he doesn't break that trust and betray that trust. And when he gives his word, he holds on to his word. This is exactly in another narration. Nabi Karim Sallallahu tells us in another narration regarding Ayat al-Munafiq al-Thalath, that the signs of the hypocrite, the signs of the munafiq, there are 3 signs showing us what is a munafiq. إِذَا حَدَثَ كَذَبَ إِذَا وَعَدَ الْأَخْلَفَ وَإِذَا أُوتِمِنَ الْخَانِ. That when he speaks lies. When he makes a promise, he breaks that promise. And then when he is given a trust, he betrays and destroys that trust. And this is the correlation that we see. And we can see here the severity and the magnitude of this batil wealth. So we see here that Nabi Karim Sallallahu and the Quran have warned us that the nur of ibadat will be lost if we are not careful about our earnings. And this we see is the scourge of our society today. We don't say that a person will not fall in economic difficulty. We're not going to say that. Due to the harshness of the economic climate, that is bound to happen. Most likely it will happen. But engaging in these activities, by doing this, a person will not receive that barakat. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will not bless that wealth. And we may think that a person may enjoy, yes, he may enjoy that wealth for a few days. He may have a few days of good food, of good clothing, a good home, a good mode, a luxurious mode of transportation. But Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, He will make that person's life restless. He will make his life uneasy and unhappy. And in the family or in the children, somewhere along the line, generations down the line, everything that he has worked for, everything that he has earned, it will be wiped out completely. And this is because why? We're not dealing with the governments of the world, respected brothers and elders. We're not dealing with people. We are dealing with Allah Ta'ala here. And so therefore, this is the example that is given to us, the severity of what is given to us. And the time is short, there's much to talk about. So I just want to end with this. Imam Jalaluddin Rumi, rahmatullah alayh, he has given us a very specific and beautiful example of what happens to that person who acquires wealth from haram sources. The example here given is in regards to a person who steals a loaf of bread in order to eat. And of course, by stealing, it means he is getting sources from haram sources. He's getting some sort of sustenance from a haram source. And so the example is given is this, that if an ox were to be sent down from the heavens to plow that land, and if Ibrahim alayhi salam, if he was the one that planted the seed of that wheat or barley, and if it was Jibreel alayhi salam who watered the plant and allowed it to grow, and if Maryam alayhi salatu wasalam, if she were the one to take that wheat, to ground it between the 2 stones of the Kaaba, if she were to do that, and then knead the dough, and then make it into bread, and then that bread were to be stolen by a person, and then that person who stole that bread, while eating it, he recited 1,000 times Durood Sharif, or he recited Ayatul Kursi or Surah Fatiha, it's mentioned that even then, it would not prevent the inside of this person from receiving plenty of evil thoughts, of greed, of malice, of corruption. In other words, despite all of these things lining up, and despite this bread being given, or him eating it, no benefit would be given to this person from eating this bread. Because this will be the effect of what happens when this person eats this and it goes into his system. Again, time is short. Now? 5 more minutes. Okay. And yet, so this is the effect of the person when he eats that bread and it goes into his system. And today, what do we see? What are we always complaining about? The people's behaviors, the bad character. And this is the effect of it. Whatever is going into the system, they are spewing that back out onto the societies and their communities and around the world. And we all acknowledge, and we all agree to the fact that foods affect the sugar levels of a person, it affects the fats of a person, some have proteins, carbohydrates, etc. And if we agree and if we understand that these foods have qualities, physical qualities that can affect us physically, then why can't we all agree that the same food has spiritual qualities that also affects us spiritually as well? That even if the halal earning is less, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put barakat in it. He will give that person encouragement to do more good. He will feel good about doing good. And he will want to do more and push more towards that barakat and towards that work. There is much to go into details, but I'm going to end it here. That these are the examples. That again, as I mentioned in the beginning, that ayat, وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا أَمْوَالَكُمْ بَيْنَكُمْ بِالْبَاطِلِ, it was mentioned directly after the verses of the month of Ramadan. And even though the month of Ramadan for now is over, we have to look forward to it again. And we should work towards it again. Whatever we have in our homely lives, in our families, or even within ourselves, we should change that. We should fix it. This is enough preparation time. A whole year. You have enough time to prepare and to fix these things. And having this niyat day by day, fixing this, we're already thinking about our income. We're already thinking about our money. But if we're thinking of it in a sense where I'm fixing this so I can prepare for the month of Ramadan, this would be a sufficient enough intention to actually prepare and to actually be prepared for the month of Ramadan. And so we can be rewarded for gathering the wealth that we go out day by day trying to gather. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
अजान पढ़नी सुन तक पहले अजान पढ़नी फिर सुन तक फिर अजान पढ़नी अल्लाहु अकबर अल्लाहु अकबर अल्लाहु अकबर أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح
بسم الله الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد بعد أن أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هل يستوي الذين يعلمون والذين لا يعلمون. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الدنيا سجن المؤمن وجنة الكافر. يا عباد الله، إذا قام الإمام يخطب يوم الجمعة فاستمعوا وأنصتوا، فإن للمنصت الذي لا يسمع من الحظ مثل ما للمنصت السامع. فإذا قامت الصلاة فاعدلوا الصفوف وحاذوا بالمناكب، فإن اعتدال الصفوف من تمام الصلاة. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسول النبي الكريم، ونحن على ذلك لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين. أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين، والحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله نستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا. من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبدك ورسولك وصلي على المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات، وبارك على محمد وأزواجه وذريته. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أرحم أمتي بأمتي أبو بكر، وأشدهم في أمر الله عمر، وأصدقهم عيان عثمان، وأقضاهم علي، وفاطمة سيدة نساء أهل الجنة، والحسن والحسين سيدا شباب أهل الجنة، وحمزة أسد الله وأسد رسوله. اللهم اغفر للعباس وولده مغفرة ظاهرة وباطنة لا تغادر ذنبا. الله في أصحابي لا تتخذهم غرضا من بعد، فمن أحبهم فبحبي أحبهم، ومن أبغضهم فببغض أبغضهم. وخير أمتي قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم. والسلطان ذل الله في الأرض إهان سلطان الله في الأرض إهانه الله. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون. أقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح، قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر، لا